So friends, this is Nazmican. In this video I'm gonna show you a game played by the 4th World Champion Aleksader Alekhine in a simultaneous exhibition against the Russian chess master Peter Potemkin. This game was played in Paris in 1925. After making few mistakes in the opening, Black found himself in trouble. This game illustrates us how to play against the king in the center. Okay, white player is Aleksader Alekhine and black is Peter Potemkin. 1e4, and interestingly enough, Potemkin chooses the Alekhine defense against the Alekhine himself. And in principle, generally grandmasters play e5 move, but this is a simultaneous exhibition and probably Alekhine didn't want to go for a theoretical dispute, so he plays knight c3, protecting the pawn, and after d5, opening transposed into another one, e takes d5, knight takes d5, the Scandinavian defense, which occurs after the moves d5, e takes d5, knight f6, and in this case knight c3, knight d5. And Alekhine now goes for bishop c4, developing his bishop and attacking the knight, knight b6, bishop b3, and I think now an important move for black, which he does, is c5, taking control of the d4 square and preparing c4 if it's allowed. d3, Alekhine prevents it, knight c6, knight f3. Up to this point, black played the opening very beautifully, nicely. He developed his forces, controlled the center, and he should go for bishop f5 and e6, or g6 and bishop g7 and castle. One thing to note is that bishop g4 is a huge mistake. You can stop the video and try to find what's the best way to meet this move. Of course, after bishop takes f7, it can be seen that after knight g5 and queen takes g4, black loses a pawn and his king loses right to castle. Knight f3, and Potemkin chooses the move knight a5, probably trying to take this guy and playing bishop g4, avoiding the trap which I show you. And Alekhine doesn't want to go in that way, and he plays the move knight e5, preventing the black's idea and also attacking the f7 pawn, which forces black to capture on b3, and this will open the a file for the white rook, and which will have a decisive effect in the game. And this is the probably last critical moment for black to develop his forces, but he's probably afraid of white's threat queen f3, and he goes for knight d7, and already this knight made 3 moves, and we will see this will not be the last one. Knight c4. Why knight c4? Because if we take the knight, black calmly develops his forces and put a nice bishop on c6 square, and will have a fine game here. Of course, Alekhine doesn't let his opponent develop so easily. Knight b6. Opponent wants repetition by knight e5, knight d7, but of course this time this knight is protected, and Alekhine shouldn't stop thinking and play bishop f4, developing his forces. And it's probably still possible to develop the forces for black, but it's getting harder and harder. But with his move knight d5, it won't be easier to play. After knight d5, queen d5, and of course another developing move, castles. White threatens to play knight b6, and already he has 2 very nicely developed pieces and a castle king, and he probably have a very nice advantage after all. Of course, black should prevent this knight b6 threat. He has to play b5, which protects the rook. Knight e3 with tempo, queen c6, and we have our topic, the king in the center. Black of course wants to play e6 and bishop e7 and castle, so he needs 2 moves, and white should think about what to do. Against the king in the center, I offer you 2 rules. First classical rule is not to allow your opponent develop a castle. Second and most important is open the central files which king is situated. And in this case, Alekhine goes for the move d4, logically trying to open up the center and catch the black king in the center. And of course, c takes d4 is a very bad move, because after queen takes d4, queen is the master of the whole board. He's attacking two diagonals and already threatening the a7 pawn. So this is unthinkable. So black chooses e6 move, hoping for bishop e7 and castles. And again, I am offering you to stop the video and have to continue the game. There are many good options, but Alekhine plays the most forcing one, d5, trying to open up the e file, which, as you see, king is situated there. And of course, black has no moves but to get rid of this threat. E takes d5, and of course, after knight takes d5, white's threatening rook e1 and knight c7. Black should prevent this by playing bishop d6 and rook e1, bishop e6, takes. And another critical moment of the game, black doesn't threaten to castle because there is knight f6 move, but he wants to do so after some preparation. But we have to look how white can improve his position by tactical or strategical means. In this case, Alekhine found a tactical way to improve and disrupt black forces. Rook a6, very strong move, threatening to take the queen, which of course cannot be taken by queen takes because there is knight c7 finishing the game off, taking the queen. And he has to play it somewhere. In this game, Potemkin chooses queen d7 move. And again, another critical moment because black wants to castle, and Alekhine again found the most forcing move. Of course, there should be other ways to continue, but Alekhine's move looks like the best one. He takes on e6. Rook takes e6, f takes e6. And what's the point behind this move is rook takes e6. And as I mentioned before, while playing the kings in the center, against the king in the center, we should opt for the moves which do not allow our opponent castle. And secondly, we should open up the center. And Aleksader Alekhine does it very beautifully. After rook e6, king f7, probably king f7 is a blunder. He should go for other move like king f8, but this doesn't change too much. Probably after rook e7 and queen f3, he of course have to sacrifice his queen. King f7, rook e7, queen e7, knight e7, king e7, and even after this exchanges, white is approximately equal material, but things are different in quality of the pieces, because now black wants to of course connect the rooks and taking the control of the central squares and evacuate his king from the center by playing king f7 and king g8, and so white shouldn't allow him to do that easily. Queen e2, check, attacking the b5 pawn, but it's not in order to take just b5 pawn, but disrupt black forces. King f7, queen h5 check, again a very strong move, trying to disrupt black by not allowing him to play rook e8 and king g8. King f6 and king situation is a bit awkward here. Of course, we all know that while playing against queen versus two rooks, you should look at the king's situation. In this case, black's king is in danger and queen is enough for these two rooks. and this is how Alekhine exploit this advantage. Queen takes c5, and now king is stuck in the center a little further, and it's not possible easily to go g8 and castling like this. Rook h8, threatening mate, and after g4, Potemkin resigned because still white has all kind of threats like take, and there's no mating tricks here. A very beautiful game illustrating the points illustrating the points how to play against the uncastled king, which stuck in the center. Remember the rules. First rule is not to allow your opponent to castle, and second and most important is to blow up and open the files in the center. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.